What you are about to hear is not just an ordinary story, it is a warning, a mystery, a transformation, a nightmare, and a lesson. It is the story of a boy who had everything: wealth, respect, comfort. He had more than most people could imagine. But something changed. He did not become a businessman. He did not become a leader. He became the most hunted man in modern history, a man whose name made the world freeze, a man who disappeared from the face of the earth for nearly 10 years, a man the world wanted dead. This is the story of Osama bin Laden. Let's go back not to 2001, not to 2011. Let's go back to 1957. That's when Osama bin Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden was born in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But he wasn't born in poverty. He wasn't born in a tent or a war zone. He was born into luxury. His father, Mohammed bin Ad bin Laden, was not just rich. He was one of the richest men in Saudi Arabia, a construction tycoon, a man trusted by the Saudi royal family. In fact, the bin Laden family was like royalty without being royal. The bin Laden family lived in palaces with servants, drivers, expensive food, and luxury cars. Osama had more than 50 siblings. His father had many wives, and the family life was strict and deeply religious. Wealth and rules surrounded him, but Osama was very different from his rich friends. He was quiet, polite, and serious. He did not laugh loudly, did not chase girls, and did not play sports for fun. Osama went to Al Thagir Model School in Jeddah, a school for children of wealthy families. He was a good student, but he was much more religious than the other students. While other boys watched television or played football, Osama read the Quran and memorized verses. Teachers noticed that he asked deep questions about religion and often stayed silent during meals, thinking about life and purpose. In 1967, when Osama was 10 years old, his father died in a plane crash, leaving the family without his guidance. The family's wealth remained, but the young Osama grew up with strict rules and a sense of responsibility. As he grew, he became even more religious and serious. He did not smoke or drink, and he avoided parties. He believed life should have a deeper meaning beyond comfort and money. In the late 1970s, Osama attended King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah, where he studied civil engineering. The university brought together students from Saudi Arabia and other Muslim countries. There, Osama met radical Islamic thinkers who influenced his ideas. He became interested in political Islam, the belief that Islam should guide governments and society. In 1979, two events changed his life. First, the Iranian Revolution brought a religious government to power, showing that religion could control a country. Second, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, which many Muslims considered an attack on Islamic land. Osama decided he could not remain rich and safe while the Muslims were fighting in Afghanistan. He left Saudi Arabia, leaving wealth and comfort behind, and went to join the Afghan Mujahideen, the fighters resisting the Soviet army. At first, Osama was thin, untrained, and inexperienced. He could not fight well, and the harsh mountain environment was difficult. But he had something few others had. He had money and a strong belief in his cause. He used his family wealth to build training camps, buy weapons, and recruit fighters. Slowly, he gained respect among the Mujahideen. He was no longer just Osama the Saudi. He was becoming Osama the fighter, Osama the leader, and Osama the believer. Afghanistan taught him guerrilla warfare. He learned how to fight in mountains, hide in caves, move secretly, and attack with surprise. He met other extremist leaders from around the world and began to see himself as chosen for a bigger mission. When the Mujahideen defeated the Soviet army, Osama believed that if small fighters could defeat a superpower, they could defeat anyone. This belief shaped his future and laid the foundation for the dangerous path he would follow. After the Soviets left Afghanistan in 1989, many fighters returned to their home countries to live in peace. Osama bin Laden did not go back. He believed the fight was not over. He saw the next enemy as the United States. American soldiers were stationed in Saudi Arabia to protect the country after the Gulf War in 1991. Osama was furious. He believed no non-Muslim army should ever be on Islamic Holy Land. He also thought Muslim governments were weak and corrupt. They could not defend Islam, so he decided that Muslims must take action themselves. Around 1988 and 1989, Osama created a new organization called Al-Qaeda, which means the base in Arabic. He wanted it to be the foundation of a global Islamic army, not just fighters in Afghanistan. He recruited young men from Egypt, Sudan, Pakistan, Yemen, Algeria, and Iraq. Many were poor or frustrated with their governments. Some were angry, some wanted adventure, and others wanted a sense of purpose. Osama gave them a mission and trained them to follow him completely. Al-Qaeda built training camps in Sudan and Afghanistan. Osama taught his followers how to use weapons, make explosives, hide from authorities, and spread propaganda. He was not just a fighter anymore. He was a teacher, a strategist, and a leader. The group tested its power with early attacks. In 1992, a hotel in Aden, Yemen was bombed. The target was American soldiers, but no Americans died. In 1993, a truck bomb exploded in the World Trade Center in New York, killing 6 people and injuring over 1,000. This showed that America was now a target. In 1998, U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania were bombed, killing 224 people and injuring thousands. Osama publicly claimed responsibility. In 2000, a U.S. Navy ship, the USS Cole, was bombed in Yemen, killing 17 sailors. Around this time, Osama began releasing video messages. He spoke slowly and calmly, like a teacher, not a madman. He said America was the enemy of Islam and told young men that it was their duty to fight. Many believed him because he gave them purpose and a sense of importance, even when it led to terrible acts of violence. Osama planned something much bigger. In 1999 and 2000, he selected a small group of men, later called the Hamburg Cell, from Germany, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. He gave them a mission: learn to fly planes. These planes would not land. They would crash into buildings. The men trained in Germany, Malaysia, and the United States. They attended flying schools in Florida, Arizona, and other states. They lived normal lives, so no one suspected anything. Osama funded the operation and gave orders from Afghanistan through trusted couriers. In August 2001, he recorded a secret video and smiled, saying, "Something big is coming. America will never feel safe again." Then he vanished into the mountains, preparing his plan in complete secrecy. On September 11, 2001, the world changed forever. On a sunny Tuesday morning, Americans went to work, children ate breakfast, and flights took off as usual. 4 planes were hijacked. Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center at 8:46 a.m. 17 minutes later, Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower. At 9:37 a.m., Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. Passengers on Flight 93 fought back, and the plane crashed in Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. Both towers collapsed, smoke and debris covered New York, and 2,977 people died from 90 different countries. Osama was hiding in Afghanistan under the protection of the Taliban. He did not immediately claim responsibility. He waited for fear and chaos to spread. The United States demanded the Taliban hand over Osama. When they refused, the U.S. began bombing Afghanistan on October 7, 2001. Their goal was to destroy the Taliban, capture or kill Osama, and crush Al-Qaeda. After the attacks of September 11, 2001, Osama bin Laden disappeared. He became a ghost. He moved quietly and avoided all forms of technology. He did not use phones, emails, or the internet. He did not appear in public. He communicated only through trusted couriers who delivered his messages in person. Osama survived in 3 main ways. He never used electronic communication. He moved between secret safe houses in small towns in Pakistan, and only a few of his most loyal followers knew his exact location. These followers believed he was on a holy mission, and they kept his location secret for nearly 10 years. Even while hiding, Osama continued to lead Al-Qaeda. He gave orders to fighters in Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, North Africa, and Southeast Asia. He instructed them on who to target, when to attack, and how to recruit new members. Al-Qaeda continued to inspire attacks, including the 2004 train bombings in Madrid and the 2005 bombings in London. The CIA realized that instead of looking directly for Osama, they needed to track the people around him. One courier, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, became the key to finding Osama. In 2010, the CIA followed him to a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The house was 3 stories tall, with high walls, barbed wire, 2 security gates, and almost no windows. It had no internet or telephone lines. The residents never left the house, and trash was burned to avoid leaving clues. Neighbors noticed the strange behavior, but did not question it. The CIA watched the compound for weeks. They saw a tall man walking alone on the 3rd-floor balcony. He never left the building and never interacted with anyone outside. They suspected this man was Osama bin Laden. In April 2011, President Barack Obama gave the order for a secret mission. The United States chose SEAL Team 6, the most elite Navy unit, to carry it out. The SEALs trained for months on an exact replica of the Abbottabad compound. Every detail of the building, every door, every window, and every wall was studied. On the night of May 1, 2011, 2 stealth helicopters flew into Pakistan. They carried SEALs, a translator, a combat dog, and all the equipment they would need. One helicopter crashed while landing because of the hot air and walls, but no one was injured. The SEALs adapted quickly. They breached the compound with explosives and moved from floor to floor, clearing rooms. Women screamed, children cried, and men tried to hide. On the 3rd floor, the SEALs found Osama bin Laden. He was tall, wearing traditional clothes, and had a long beard. He did not hold a weapon. The SEALs shot him in the chest and the head. It was over in seconds. The man who had disappeared for 10 years was dead. The SEALs collected computers, hard drives, USB drives, papers, letters, and photographs. They confirmed that Osama had 3 wives and several children. His youngest wife, Amal, was shot in the leg but survived. The operation lasted 38 minutes. Osama's body was flown to Afghanistan for DNA testing and then buried at sea to prevent any shrine from forming. Even after his death, Osama's ideas continued to influence the world. Al-Qaeda became weaker, but new groups like ISIS and Boko Haram rose. His ideology spread, inspiring attacks in different countries. Osama was not just a fighter, he was a psychological weapon. He used religion, anger, and the feeling of injustice to control minds. He gave young men purpose, even if it led them to commit terrible acts. Osama bin Laden was born into wealth and comfort. He could have lived a peaceful life. Instead, he chose violence, hatred, and destruction. He destroyed cities, killed thousands, and left families broken. He died hiding, without honor or future, leaving only fear and devastation behind. This story is not to glorify him. It is to understand how someone becomes dangerous so that the world can prevent others from following the same path. Osama bin Laden's life is a warning of how belief, anger, and ideology, when combined with power and money, can change the world in terrible ways.